Welcome back. It's Kovacs Report for another absolute, honest comic book review. Of course, we're talking about Absolute Batman. Now, before I start this review, I need to make a little apology. And I mean this sincerely to Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta. Now, I have not been very kind in the past about this book. And I have said some quite nasty things. I've also titled Absolute Batman issue 6 YouTube video quite badly, okay? And it was pointed out to me that what I had done wasn't very nice and wasn't pleasant. And on reflection and conversation with someone who will remain anonymous, I've realized that I made a mistake. So what I'm hoping to do going forward is be less nasty, a bit more constructive, and a bit more considerate of the fact that behind all these books are people, okay? And they care about what they do and they love their craft. And someone like me comes on and says the things that I say, it isn't nice, okay? And I don't want to become one of those channels that's just a hate channel where every video is what's wrong with Marvel? This is awful. This is terrible. Don't read this. And it's just video after video of negativity. I want to share my love for these books and I got carried away. So very sincerely, I apologize to Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta. Sorry, I'm mixing my words now because I'm genuinely emotional about it. So I am very sorry. And going forward, I'm going to approach it very, very, very differently. Now, having said that, I still need to do this review. So let's jump straight into it. So speaking of Nick Dragotta, beautiful cover on there. Batman crouching in the snow with some blood. I guess it's the snow. And for once, actually, Nick's not doing the interior art. Not that I dislike Nick's art, because I maybe didn't make that very clear in the previous videos. I think his art style is very interesting. I didn't like the character designs, let's say, but I don't dislike his art. He's obviously a very talented artist. But for this issue, or maybe this arc, I'm not sure, we've got Marcos Martin, who is a fan favorite and one of my favorites, actually. I really do like his art. And he's come along and done a great job. So we get a little prologue in Tanzania. And there's a family on an adventure here. There's the father and the son. And we figure out here the son is actually Victor Freeze, who obviously is Mr. Freeze. He's seen something that has terrified him. His eyes are gone bloodshot and he looks terrified. And then we jump straight to the present day. Now, what's happened is Bruce and all his friends are having a chat in an alleyway somewhere, and his friends are what I imagine are going to become the villains, because you've got the Enigma there, you've got Harvey Dent, you've got Wayland. So they're all, in this version of Batman, they actually start off as his friends. They haven't become villainized yet. Whether they do or not, it's a mystery. We'll have to keep reading the book to find out. But they're not very happy with Bruce, because Bruce kept the fact that he was Batman's secret. He kind of used them to gain information or an upper hand in his pursuit of being the Batman, and they don't like it. So that interspersed through the story that's being told in this issue is this conversation in the alleyway, and that's revealed. You can read in more detail about it. Bruce doesn't seem to be that bothered, in my opinion, about it. I think he's very much, I've got to do what it takes to get the job done. And they don't like that either. So let's jump onto 1 week ago. We jump back to the past. Now, since the Black Mask incident, martial law has been declared in Gotham City, and there's also a curfew. So it's a bit harder to get about being the Batman or as Bruce Wayne to investigate what's going on. And all things are pointing to the Arc M facility that's being constructed across on the black site on the island. There's a little island off the coast, much like, I guess, Alcatraz or whatever, I don't know, Manhattan. But it is being built. There is a giant thing going on there, and there's a mysterious company behind it with the initials JK. So make your conclusions what that means. So Arc M, there is a crew building this site, and Batman needs to get on the crew. He feels like he can investigate more if he has access to the island. And obviously, if he's just good old Bruce Wayne, it's going to be a lot easier to get over there, infiltrate, find out what it means. So he's enlisted his friend, Matches Malone, to get him some work papers to get him on the crew. What I do like about this is Matches Malone is actually a disguise and a character that Bruce plays when he wants to go undercover. You'll see that through previous Batman books. You haven't seen it already, so it was nice to see him sort of given a nod here as flesh and bone. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So he just chats with Matches and asks if he can get him the paper. He says, "Yeah, I've done one better than that. I've actually got on the crew too, so I'll be there too." And this worries Bruce because it's dangerous work, and he doesn't want his friend to get hurt. However, it's a little bit too late for that because while they're talking, his face starts sweating and his pores start opening up. Blood starts spurting out from every hole possible, and he just collapses in a pool of blood. Taking his phone to investigate what he can investigate. Maybe there's some clues there as to what's going on and what he found out on the island, because he did indicate there's some weird stuff going on, like really weird stuff going on. Bruce discovers a list of names: Langstrom, Isley, Strange, Fries, all very familiar names. You know who they are. And he wasn't sure whether or not this is a list that Matches had made or was a list that he copied while he was over there, but he decided it is time to do a little bit more investigation. Now, he is led to Dr. Victor Fries. That's one of the names on the list. And the company that he owns is called VCore. And he thinks that's a good enough place to start this investigation before I get on the island. And while he's there, he is spotted by the GCPD. And of course, because there's martial law, he's attacked. And he averts capture with some acrobatics and disperses of these drones that are shooting at him in the middle of the city, and escapes. Now, I do like some of these panels here. It reminds me of Batman Year One. I don't know why. It just has that feeling. I really like what's been done here. And again, the colouring in this, it is quite vibrant, but it really, really, really works. Anyway, Batman is on the phone to Pennyworth while he's flying through the air with ease. Pennyworth knows what he's up to. Batman lies to him and says, "Oh, I'm just, listening to the radio or something." He's like, "I know you're not listening to the radio. Just be careful." And then he finally infiltrates VCore, gets into his casual clothes to pretend that he is an engineer there to visit, because the records that he's discovered show that there's a massive amount of power and energy being used at this company, so much more than a normal building would require, So he's like, what is going on? So he trundles in there in disguise as electrical engineer from the city to find out what's happening, and he comes in. So this chap comes out, and I guess he looks very much like the child from the beginning. He looks like Victor Fries. And this doctor, this scientist, he's very, very, very helpful. And he tells Batman, sorry, I keep saying Batman, he tells Bruce that what they do there is they use cryotech to freeze people and freeze specimens from the past. As you can see, there's a mammoth there, and, saber-toothed tiger, I'm not sure, on a beetle. And rich people can buy this service if they're ill and they want to be frozen until the time where there is a cure, much like Victor Fries in the normal Batman story where he froze Nora, his wife, so he could try and save her. But the big reveal here, and I like this reveal actually, is that this is not Victor Fries. This is actually their son, Victor Jr. And Mum and Dad, well, they're frozen behind him. And this boy here, he's not this innocent scientist. He's a pretty bad guy. Anyway, he explains that they found something bad in the ice. It wasn't this amazing source of cures and everything else that his father had thought. And he himself was ill, and his parents froze him. And he says, it's like you don't really sleep when you're in there. You feel it. You feel the pain. You hear everything. You see everything. He said the ice got into my whole body, and it actually sort of cured through my veins, every fiber of my body. And it was painful. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible experience. And we find out that it actually had a lasting effect on him, as we see his hand here sort of turn black and all his veins go icy as he turns around to kill Bruce Wayne. So this, to me, I guess, is kind of like the new Mr. Freeze, right? He looks kind of interesting, this weird body that's been ravaged by ice. All in all, not a bad issue at all. And I'm not just saying that to try and make up for all the horrible things I said about the other issues. This was genuinely interesting. I did enjoy it. It flowed really well. And I think for me, this is the first issue of Absolute Batman that I genuinely enjoyed. So again, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Martin. And thank you, Nick. I'll see you in the next Batman, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much.